Hey everybody, it's me, Mindy, and I'm going to talk a little bit of another creature. I'm going to do a supernatural creature. Um, Try to do it as best as I can because I'm not a supernologist. Um, I don't study this stuff, but I do know pretty much facts about it. But this next creature that we're talking about, because I'm thinking about doing a supernatural creature thing, what we're thinking about this next one is actually from pretty much tribal era. This is called the Wendigo. The Wendigo is one of those action figures from folklore that are created in high-driven, invested hunger in human flesh, kind of like what a zombie is. But this thing different is it wears a reindeer skull on its face. Well, the Indians in the one time they were kind of scared about it at the point where they were talking about it. All tribes and the Indians were talking about it at that time. And it's pretty tall. It's a creature that nobody really couldn't really knows much about. But the Wendigo is a monstrous and mischievous figure of Abelagan clawed folklore, representative of gluttony and greed, and can possess humans or transfer them into cannibalism and driving into investable hunger or flesh. Pretty much the creature will turn you if you get bit or if you see one or something happens, you actually can probably get turned into one. And what actually triggers the Wendigo is actually greed. Greed can actually, like, this thing was actually human at one time. It was human at one time, and it actually did it. And it's in folklore, and it's a legend as people speak of the Abajing and Creed of the Great Lakes region in north areas. The taboo of the Wendigo serves of warning of surrounding northern areas. The taboo of the Wendigo cautions symbols warning of cannibalism, gluttony, greed, and etc. So they're mainly pride at night. They come around at night, usually in the woods. They're hiding around in the woods. And a lot of these from the Indian tribes are fearing this. Every person in the world is feared by some kind of creature, no matter if it's big, round for a while, if it's been like for history. All this stuff is actual, really. This actually happened. But when you're Wendigo, the Wendigo could change, like, examples. Like, its physical appearance is described of a gaunt skeleton human-like form, dedicated of skin, hollowed ground, red eyes, tolerant lips, and long claws. Wears a mask that looks like a reindeer mask, and he's got like antlers hiding up of his head. But everybody has a different turns of the Wendigo. But pretty much the Wendigo kind of resembles a zombie, sort of like that, and it depends on because there's different varieties of different creatures. The size of it is a giant, grown tall with each other, preventive devoured. Sensitivity disorder. It's got sensor abilities, represent strength, speed, hear, smell, and ability to stalk overpower to victims. The odor, there's an foul odor that's the first sign that you know there's a Wendigo around. They usually come out at night. It's kind of like the creature you really want to watch out for it. And what causes it is cannibalism, but people don't have much to eat, so they eat other people. Cannibalism, greed and gluttony, possession, and environment factory. But like they say, these things were human at one time. But it's kind of hard to understand, like, these creatures were real at once, and they're still haunting our dreams today. Everybody talks about them in folklore and supernatural mythological creatures. In Supernatural, they talk about it too, and it's one of the creepiest creatures anybody could see in life. But you just got to be very careful when you're out and about, especially out in the woods. Just be careful. But there was no real story about this, but this actually did happen. And it does happen to people that get into greed and gluttony. And if that happens to you, you could get turned into one of those creatures too. You don't have to be near one, but greed is the big thing that can cause it. And then they are definitely very, very evil. So you gotta really watch out there. They're mainly stereotypes of Native Americans, of cannibalism, demotics, rabbits, incrimination, hunting, the threat of silver societies, and wrapped up into one. Everyone has that choice. And, like, to kill it completely, you have to destroy the heart. It's kind of like putting a bullet into a werewolf or something, a silver bullet. Same thing. Destroy the heart, and it will kill it, and you burn it or melt it, and it will destroy it. But it comes out nowhere. It's out in the open. It's usually out in the thing. Like, this invasive taboo consists some of apiculture cultures that can cause harm. These can be dangerous. You got to be very careful with if you see them. They are very, very, very dangerous. They could actually harm and kill anybody that's in their path. They like to chase you down, so you got to be very careful. They're very fast, and they get connected to that if greed and gluttony. That's the two things they will become attracted to. If you have one of those traits, that can actually happen to you, and you could actually turn into a Wendigo. You may think that all these creatures that we have, they're real. They were happened at one time, and they're all in folklore, and all of people understand that Wendigos are about as scarier as any other creature. But that's probably what I have to say about it. But you just got to be very careful, be positive, be humble that you actually have something to protect yourself with, because when you see one of these things in the flesh, oh, you're gonna be either dead or killed, one of the two, because they're hungry. They hunt at night, so you gotta be very careful, and just be very careful not to get possessed, not to get greed, not to be gluttony, because love what you got and care what you got, and understand people's got their own things, but try to be blessed of what you got, because this actually happens. Like I said, this creature was human at one time, and it actually can happen, because all creatures we know of that were probably either a science project went wrong, or a curse happened, or something like that, because they do exist. They're real. They exist. And you just gotta be very careful. Be careful what you're doing. Be careful what you're saying. Because if you harm somebody, that can actually get you in the possession of either greed and gluttony, and they all were human at one time. So, I'm Mindy. I will talk to you later. Have a good evening. Bye.